Piccolo, Gohan, Krillin, Vegeta, and Goku. So what do they all have in common? Let's deep dive into the fathers of Dragon Ball. Now, I know, we've heard it all before. We've heard the Piccolo jokes, we've heard,
"He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy."
The fandom is always showcasing how awful of a father Goku is, and also showing how amazing of a mentor father figure Piccolo truly was to Gohan. This won't just be focused around Piccolo though. We are going to talk about all the fathers in Dragon Ball, and deep dive into talking about each of them. So let's start with Krillin. I find Krillin gets overlooked in a lot of ways, but as my favorite character of the series, I've paid extra close attention to Krillin's character. Krillin started out back in Dragon Ball and was somewhat of a coward, and he had a lot of growing to do, but becoming a pupil under Master Roshi brought confidence to him and really set the foundation to becoming the man he is today. Krillin hands down landed the hottest girl in Dragon Ball. Let's be real, our boy, he's got some game. 18 is a hard girl to get along with. She is very tough on the exterior, not letting a lot of people get close to her emotional side. But Krillin was the one to break through that wall she built up. We can see it time and time again. The way she looks at Krillin and supports him and encourages him to become stronger and allow him to be the man he wants to be. It really shows how much she truly loves him. This extended greatly once Krillin and 18 had a child named Marin. Krillin is always around helping raise Marin. Krillin also will still engage in battles helping his friends because he wants to do whatever he can to make sure his family remains safe. He has always been someone who puts others ahead of himself, and this is only amplified when it comes to 18 and Marin. We have countless examples of Krillin stepping up, even if it means he will lose. But one moment I found particularly special was in the Resurrection F movie. Krillin tells 18 to stay behind and take care of Marin. Now, some people see this as maybe a weird situation because we all know that 18 is stronger than Krillin, but he did it for a good reason. Krillin knows 18 is stronger, and because of this, Krillin leaves 18 to protect the thing they both cherish the most. So if anything went wrong on the battlefield, Krillin at least has peace of mind that Marin is as safe as possible. We constantly see Marin cheering Krillin on when training, and also witness Krillin taking care of the daily routines along with 18, both as a husband and a father. I think you can really notice this with Marin and 18, who despite her tough exterior, will immediately become softer toward Krillin, and it's so touching to see. I truly love the moments when 18 helps push Krillin to gain his confidence back with some tough love. But once he accomplished his goal and overcoming his fears, you can see just how proud she is of him. So this is why Krillin makes the list as one of the best fathers in Dragon Ball. Now let's move on to Vegeta. He is truly an interesting case because let's start from the beginning. Vegeta had a harsh and tragic life. He was a slave to Frieza, and his entire life consisted of kill or be killed. He knew nothing outside of war, pain, suffering, and resilience. We all know that Vegeta started as the villain, and over the course of the series, Vegeta becomes an ally for the Z Fighters and one to risk his life to save the Earth. Vegeta hands down has the greatest story arc in the entire franchise. There's no denying that. Vegeta on his transition from villain to hero starts with the falling in love with Bulma. They kinda are perfect for one another, as both of them are incredibly stubborn, but she in the end lets him be himself and doesn't try to change him. Despite Vegeta seeming distant, you can see his love for Bulma over time, and this becomes incredibly apparent during the Battle of Gods movie, where Beerus slaps Bulma and Vegeta completely loses his shit. Because he was so full of rage, he was able to land a hit on Beerus despite the enormous gap in power. Vegeta definitely showcases the tough love approach. We witnessed this early on with Trunks as they get ready for the androids. But Vegeta's softer side will always come out when it comes down to saving his own flesh and blood. We got to witness this firsthand when Vegeta completely loses it against Cell. We see Cell kill future Trunks right in front of him, and we see Vegeta go berserk and rage attack Cell. We see it again when Vegeta sacrifices himself against Buu in order to save Trunks, Bulma, and the entire world. This is what makes Vegeta such an interesting character. His complex emotions and burdens he carries while constantly growing and changing as a person. He was even going to skip the Tournament of Power in order to stay behind to be by Bulma's side, as he was about to have his next kid, Bulla. Luckily for that one, we had Whis step in and speed that process right up. Vegeta clearly loves his family. He may show it sometimes in his own way, and will typically keep that tough love approach. But when required, you will see his full heart open up, and it's quite beautiful and touching to see. A man who lived a life with so much pain and suffering finally found peace in his life. Now, this is the one I truly wanted to talk about. I was listening to this awesome lo-fi hip-hop mix that sparked so much nostalgia for me, and this was the line that completely sparked the idea for this video.
But I'm afraid.
You'll laugh at your fears when you find out who you really are.
I know we have a running joke with Piccolo being Gohan's real dad and talking about how terrible of a father Goku is, but I don't want to focus on Goku here. I simply want to focus on Piccolo because he truly is the one who raised Gohan to become the man he is today. We all know Piccolo started off as the villain, just like Vegeta, then moved into this anti-hero position to fight Raditz, but it was after this fight and Goku's death that changed everything. Piccolo takes Gohan knowing his potential and decided to train him. Piccolo did not go easy on him. He was incredibly tough on Gohan, who was just a little kid at this time. He was forcing him to survive on his own to toughen him up. Piccolo says,
"The first thing you need to do is learn how to take care of yourself."
This line really hit home because seeing it through adult eyes really changes your perspective on the meaning behind this. At first, we think as kids that Piccolo is just simply being a jerk. Piccolo was doing what a parent should do, and that is to teach your kid to survive and take care of themselves, so they can grow into an adult becoming self-sufficient and independent. Even with all the tough exterior that Piccolo was showing, making himself seem incredibly cold, we knew that Piccolo was still watching over Gohan, making sure he was safe, and over time, Piccolo's heart grew and cared for Gohan like a son. That line Piccolo says, "You'll laugh at your fears when you find out who you really are." This was an incredibly powerful line that made me pause and really absorb what he just did. Gohan said he was afraid, just like any child would do in a fearsome situation. But Piccolo, despite his tough exterior, gave him the most encouraging words that I feel was very overlooked. Piccolo saying, "You'll laugh at your fears when you find out who you really are," is the words of an elder passing on his experience. Those words would resonate and soothe Gohan and provide him the courage and bravery he needed to push forward. I personally just find those words so meaningful and believe they resonate with every single one of us. We all have challenges in life and want to push for change in our lives, but the only way to get it is simply to work hard. There's no shortcuts in life. You have to work for what you want. And despite the fears of self-doubt you may have, once you push yourself and look back, I think we can truly see who we really are. And what we once were scared of, we can now laugh at and smile. Piccolo from this point forward is always by Gohan's side. He sacrificed himself to save him against Nappa and has put himself in harm's way many times after to protect Gohan, even arguing with Goku against Cell when Goku forgot that he was sending a little kid into the most dangerous battle humanity has ever experienced. Piccolo was ready to jump in, and despite being no match for Cell, he would do whatever he could to save Gohan. He knew he saw a frightened little boy about to square off with Cell, wondering why his dad isn't coming to save him. It's pretty messed up. I understand Goku's reasoning. He knew if Gohan was pushed, he could unlock potential that could change the tide and win the day. But regardless, he is still risking the life of his own kid to achieve that, and Piccolo would not stand for it. Piccolo was always there for Gohan, whether it was to fight the next villain or be by his side in life as he grew up. I believe this is what turned Gohan into a great father and husband, having someone like Piccolo to teach him how to be a man. Gohan joins the Tournament of Power because of his wife and kid, wanting to protect them at all costs. And despite how powerful he is, we can see how nurturing Gohan is with Videl and Pan, being a great father and husband, which can be attributed to Piccolo and everything he taught Gohan. Now, I do want to talk about Goku a little bit because despite all the jokes, and yes, he has done some really terrible things in hindsight, throwing his kids into war, but I do think Goku truly loves Gohan and Goten, and his naiveness is what causes most of these issues. It doesn't truly excuse him, but we can at least understand it. Goku went to battle Raditz to save Gohan, and he also sacrificed himself against Cell to save Gohan along with everyone else. Goku is always looking for the next fight, but he is also willing to risk his life for the betterment of everyone else. He still does have a lot of issues though. I mean, maybe kiss your wife, Goku, once in a while? Last but not least, we have, of course, Mr. Satan. Some of you know him as Hercule. Now, he is definitely, by far, the most overprotective father of all the fathers in Dragon Ball. There's no question about it. We saw how he was with Gohan. He was just a typical father if you really think about it. But that is just the sign of somebody who really loves their daughter and wants to protect them and keep them safe. We of course have that very memorable moment in the Majin Buu saga when Videl went up against that guy who just destroyed her. Once Mr. Satan found out what happened, he was losing it. He wanted to be by her side and would not let up until he knew she was okay. Even with Gohan coming into the picture with senzu beans, he was not okay with it because he didn't want anything bad to happen to her. And of course, he's not familiar with senzu beans at this time, so he doesn't know what this person's giving her. But he did notice in a brief moment that this was a man who cared about his daughter. And I think that was one of the first stepping stones that allowed Mr. Satan to accept Gohan as the husband of Videl. Now, we always know Mr. Satan is a coward, and of course he's mainly comic relief, but he has had his heroic moments as well. He is definitely one of the reasons why they were capable of defeating Majin Buu. It would have never happened without his assistance. Of course, it wasn't for his strength, but it was for his heart. And his heart is what took him to the win to help everybody. He put his ego aside, he got everyone on board to listen, to help Goku create the spirit bomb that was needed to defeat Majin Buu. And for that, he is definitely a hero and is definitely somebody who deserves to be on this list. I really enjoyed making this video. I thought it was a cool topic of conversation as it's something I never really hear much about outside of the Goku memes of him being a terrible father. I thought it would be a cool idea to go in depth and truly appreciate the fathers of Dragon Ball and looking at things from their perspective and what they do for their family. So what do you think about the fathers of Dragon Ball, and who do you think is the best father we've seen so far? That's it for this one. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, click on that like button, and comment below about your thoughts on the fathers of Dragon Ball. That's it for this one. See you in the next video.